Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben and I am sitting inside the SaunaBox Solara. Now I have had this unit for about a week now and I can tell you guys so far I am loving it. And if I'm being honest, there's really not a whole lot to dislike about this unit. It has full spectrum, low EMF infrared panels, it has the red light, it comes in a size that doesn't take up your entire house, and frankly, it just looks really good. All that said, however, there is one potential con. And although the Solara is very competitively priced, it's still $3,000. But I have some really good news for you guys because SaunaBox, they are on a roll lately and they've actually released yet another brand new sauna, and it offers about 80% of the same features and benefits as the Solara at about a fourth of the price. Okay, I made up the 80%, but it is a lot of features. So say hello to SaunaBox's newest infrared sauna, the Pulse. And at first glance, you might be thinking that this is just another portable steam sauna from SaunaBox, but guys, this is actually completely different. It now features 6 far infrared panels inside. It has medical grade red light. It also has this new covering that's Ecotex certified, so it's guaranteed to be free of any sort of toxins or anything that's going to be harmful to you. And like I said, it comes in at a far more reasonable price than a traditional sauna. Now, to be 100% transparent, I want to let you guys know that SaunaBox did send me the Pulse Pro to try out. However, just like every other product review that I've done on this channel, I try to be as objective, fair, and honest as possible about it. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the Pulse Pro, and we'll start with the design. Now, if you are familiar with the OG SaunaBox, you might almost assume that the Pulse is the exact same, but it's actually slightly different. And if you look at the overall covering of it, it's actually more of a trapezoid shape, meaning from the bottom, it actually tapers and gets smaller as it goes towards the top, which is kind of a neat little feature there. But also, if you come from the side here, you'll actually notice that the front 3 panels here are slightly tilted backwards as well. And I almost think because we have an infrared panel right here on this side and also one over here on this side, that it's intentionally designed that way so that the panel kind of leans back more towards you so it gets a little bit closer, I'm assuming. Now, as far as overall dimensions, from this corner over here to this corner, it's 43 inches. And from the back corner to the front, it's about 34 inches. And as far as the height goes, it's 68 inches tall. If we open up the door right there, you will immediately see that we have the infrared panels right here on the bottom. There are 6 of them, and they fully surround you. We also, here on the sides, we have the red light therapy. So you can see that they just clip right there to the post. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. These are about 36 inches long, and there are 2 of them. Now, the great thing about these is they can actually be placed anywhere you like. So if you don't like them on these front 2 poles, you can set one on the front, maybe perhaps one on the back. You can definitely mix it up. Now, there's a little thing you probably wouldn't even notice, but this little wire right here, that is actually the thermometer right there. It'll tell you what the temperature is inside. And then the last thing to point out is we do have this little mesh pocket up here. So if you want to put anything in there, I don't know what it might be. I don't know if you want to keep your cell phone inside here, but there is that pocket available. Now, controlling the Pulse couldn't be simpler. We actually have this remote right here. This is Bluetooth enabled, so it connects directly to a box and you can turn it on and off. It's pretty basic in design. However, I think the remote, it looks pretty good. And you can set the temperature right there and also the time. You can set that up for up to 60 minutes. That top number right there will actually show you at any given time how warm it is inside, so 64 degrees Fahrenheit. If you are on the other side of the world, we do have Celsius available, so you can just click right there, and that will change it to Celsius. The only con to having a remote is the fact that you need this in order to operate the Pulse. You cannot turn it on any other way. And so if you are somebody that chronically loses your TV remote or has a kid that walks off with it, you might want to strap an AirTag on this thing. Now, the very last thing I want to make mention of is just the assembly of the Pulse Pro. It is not difficult, and I don't think that it will require 2 people to do so. However, it can be a little bit tedious, so just kind of a heads up on that. There's a lot of just parts and things that have to be connected properly in order for it to work. It's not a big deal. I just want to kind of give you a heads up. I found it interesting that I think it took a lot longer to put this together than it did the full-size Solara that we did in our last video, which was just an observation I had. Now next, let's go ahead and talk about the red light therapy. So the Pulse Pro includes 2 red lights. They are wands and they're about 30 inches long. They attach directly to the inside poles of the tent itself, and they do emit light at 660 nanometers, which is supposed to be the most beneficial spectrum of light to promote healing and cell regeneration, things like that. Now, if you look at the wired remote for the red light, you'll notice that there are several different options that you can choose from. The first one being you can set it up on a timer, so you can have this turn off after a certain amount of time. The other thing is it actually has 5 different levels of brightness intensity. Number 5 is extremely bright, and so that's kind of nice to see in this red light. And the third thing is it actually has 3 modes, different modes. Number 1 being continuous light. It has pulsing light, and then it has kind of like a micro pulse light. So there you have it. It has a number of different options to choose from. So let's go ahead and talk about the safety of the SaunaPod, because I know that a lot of you are going to want to make sure that this is safe to use. And of course, understandably so, this is a wellness product after all. So SaunaBox has taken a number of precautions in order to cut down on any risk of off-gassing or high EMF levels, things like that. And that really starts with the thermo shield, the covering that we have right here is number 1. This is actually now Ecotex certified. If you're not familiar with Ecotex, it's a very strict certification. Just make sure that there aren't any levels of toxins or anything like that. And actually, you'll commonly see that on a lot of baby clothes. If you look at the tag, it'll actually say Ecotex certified. That's number 1. The other thing is they moved all the power units, the brick, it actually moved it outside of the tent. So any of the electrical fields, anything like that are far away from you. So that cuts down on the EMF. Plus the thermocell technology in the actual infrared panels themselves, the way that they're actually manufactured, the weaving on that with the carbon panels, it actually will produce much lower EMF levels, which we are going to see in this video. The other thing is, as far as like the chair, they made that wood as well. So as you can see, they've definitely taken a number of measures in order to make sure that this is as safe as possible to use. All right, so I know probably the number 1 question you're gonna have about this is how are the EMF levels? Great news, I do have an EMF reader right here, and I wanna go ahead and show you what those levels are. All right, we have our meter right here. It is reading milligauss right now. If we come down here, I wanna show you the power source first. So come down here, it's turned off. No power is running to it. I do have the red light on. And so as you can see, that is going. We'll come inside really quick. I'll show you the panels as well. Just a couple checks here. So 0, 0, 0, as it should be. I'm gonna show you guys right here in real time. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. Okay, just clicked on. Let's come on back here one more time. Power source. Super high. Okay, come on inside. And as you can see, that it's not picking up any EMF levels on any of these panels in here. So we have the 6 panels. Every single one of them not picking up any of the EMF. Wow, okay, so SaunaBox said ultra low EMF and they meant it. You know, generally to get like 0 EMF levels, that's kind of reserved for the much more expensive saunas out there. I mean, you're gonna pay like $5,000 to $10,000 to get that. Generally, when you have the more budget ones, I mean, you're at least gonna get some EMF levels. And here, I just couldn't detect any. Now, the last and final thing you wanna know about the SaunaBox Pulse is how hot does it actually get? Now, on their website, they do claim that it gets up to 160 degrees, which for an infrared sauna is pretty dang hot. So we have the built-in thermometer that we can actually see on the remote right here. And I also have 2 other, I guess, thermometers right here that we're gonna go ahead and throw in there. And so we just wanna get an accurate read of how hot does this actually get and how quickly does it heat up. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and turn that on. We're gonna set the temp all the way up to 160 degrees. Let's go ahead and put these other thermometers in there. Have those currently reading, let's see, 77. And yeah, it's a little bit harder to read right there, but yeah, that's around 77 as well. Let's get this closed up and go ahead and start the timer. Also, a quick check here on the remote. We have 76 degrees is what it's reading inside currently. Also, in case you're wondering, the temperature inside the house is 75 degrees. The ambient temperature can strongly affect the internal temperature of these portable sauna tents. So we'll go ahead and let it run. Let's see how long it actually takes to get to 160. Let's do a quick update. It is 27 minutes in. Now, according to the remote, it's 143. However, let's go ahead and check the ones inside. I'm gonna try to make this super quick. Yeah, if you look there, 155, right there. That's reading just about 150. So we're kind of getting 3 different readings right there. I mean, all very close together. So it's kind of hard to tell which one is which. I have found that the digital one in the past has been the most accurate of them all. And so it's definitely getting close to the temperature that it's supposed to be. All right, so temp check number 2, as you can see here, it's been 36 minutes, just a little bit more than that. And I think that this is long enough to see how hot it is. I mean, it probably isn't gonna get much hotter. Checking the remote, it says 147 right there. Now let's check to see what it says inside real quick here. Uh-oh, it got too hot. And that's reading, oh, that's about that's almost 160. It's kind of hard to see because those numbers are so close together, but it's pretty darn close. In the past, I've used that digital thermometer before, and it only shows that error if it gets too hot. And I think it's over like 165, 68 degrees. Definitely reached that, and that's why we're seeing that. And so, and as you can see on the oven thermometer, that was about 160. So this can definitely get to that temperature that they're talking about, but that doesn't mean much until we actually try it for ourselves. Now, this is my very first time being inside here, and I can tell you right off the bat, this has been running for about 45 minutes now. And as far as like, I don't smell anything. I don't smell any kind of chemical or any off-gassing. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not. I know that we need a VOC meter to actually see, if there is anything off-gassing here, but I don't smell anything. To kind of put it into perspective, I see so many people get bent out of shape about this, but for instance, like a brand new car. I mean, brand new cars off-gas so much, and you can definitely smell it. A brand new house, new carpet, things like that, painting your walls. And that's something that you can smell. In here, I don't smell anything. And so, you have to kind of put the VOCs into perspective that there's always going to be some sort of off-gassing of something that you're always breathing in. All right, since it's been well over 5 minutes right now, let me give you guys a few more impressions of what I think about this. First of all, the red light. I love the fact that you have the placement right up here up front, right in front of you. I mean, you can adjust these and you can put them on different poles. When it's up to level 5, I think you'll definitely need the goggles. It's super, super bright. But as far as the heat, I mean, you are literally just inches away from the poles. And so it is very hot in here. All right, 10 minutes. Can you guys see that? It's like a sweat factor in here. It's disgusting, but it's working. Now, before I get out of here, there is one thing that I do want to emphasize, and I've said this a few times in other videos, and that's regarding the infrared and how much different that is than the typical sauna that most people talk about, where you have the rocks and you throw on you get the steam and things like that. Infrared works completely different, guys. So, when you're talking about the temperature being even 150 degrees, that is actually very intense. I mean, those wavelengths actually penetrate into the body. And so it's basically heating you from the inside out as opposed from the ambient outside air, kind of outside in heating. And so you don't need it super hot. In fact, you can't have it as hot as a traditional sauna. This one at 150, I mean, within minutes, I'm sweating. Well, I've been in here for about 20 now. But you sweat like crazy. And so it's extremely effective, and it does what it's supposed to. It's just a different mechanism. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Whoa, gross. Well, that was about 20 minutes inside, and wow, I'm dripping sweat. That was really intense. All right, now that I've had a few moments to actually cool down, get the sweat off, let me tell you guys my final impressions of this. And of course, whenever I create these videos, as I said in the very beginning, I try to be truthful and honest about the whole experience and really just to be objective. And when I say objective, I go ahead, I look at the claims that they make on the website, and we just test to see if they are actually true. As far as the temperature goes, yeah, I got up to the 160. As far as the EMF levels, we tested those and they checked out perfectly. Again, I couldn't actually test the VOCs with like a meter to make it official, but inside, I don't smell anything outside of the tent, of course. It's not smelling up my house. And inside, I'm not really smelling anything either. But overall, I mean, this is an incredible package. When you compare that to, for instance, the Solara. If you can afford the Solara, I would recommend getting it. I love it. I've been using it every single day. But that is $3,000. This one is running about around $800 plus or minus a little bit. Overall, it's a very impressive package for what you're getting. You're getting basically a high-end sauna experience, infrared sauna experience, at a much cheaper price than a lot of the other competitors out there. As far as a con, maybe not so much a con or something that they could possibly improve upon, would be the wiring itself. I mean, it's a little bit cumbersome putting everything together and connecting it the way that it is. And of course, you have two different power bricks. You have one for the red light, and you also have one for the actual infrared panels themselves. So, if they could kind of combine that into just one box and have one plug, I think that would be smart. I don't know if that would increase the cost, but that was just kind of an observation. I mean, the wires are tucked away underneath the floor at the end of the day. So not too much of a big deal, but it's something to think about. But otherwise, largely, by and large, I was really impressed with the Pulse. All right, so there you have it. That is the Pulse Pro. Now, if you guys have any questions or comments, if I left out any kind of detail that you'd like to know more about, please, by all means, leave those comments down in the comment section down below. I love interacting with you guys, and you actually send me quite a few messages, which is really, really cool. Also, if you'd like to save 10% off anything from SaunaBox, there is a promo code listed in the description. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.